Greetings, fellow classmates and professor. My name is Bradley Ray. I currently live in Travelers Rest, South Carolina. I'm here to, tell about a life-changing experience for our first discussion board. And I guess that would be the death of my grandmother when I was 19. She raised me from the time I was just an infant, probably around 6 months old. And growing up, I didn't have a mom or a dad really in my life. My dad was very abusive physically. He was an alcoholic, a drug addict. All he really cared about was his next fix, drinking with his buddies, hanging out. He lived in the same house as we did, but I never saw him. My mom, she just really couldn't take care of me financially, and she just seen that it was better for me to be with my grandmother, who was in a position to take care of me. And growing up, not really having a male figure in your life made it very difficult for me. I went through a lot of tragedies throughout my childhood. I won't get into that right now because that would have to deal with my testimony, which we're not supposed to speak of at this time. And anyways, as I was growing up, a little kid, I don't remember a whole lot. Teenage years was pretty bad. I was real depressed, suicidal, and I felt like I just didn't really have anybody. My grandma was there. She was my sole provider. She was my mom, my dad, my best friend, aunt, uncles, brothers, sisters. She was all that wrapped up into one person. And so my life just really depended on her. My whole being in this world just depended on this one lady. And for her to step up and take the place of both my parents, I could never repay that. Just as we look at Jesus and we know we can never repay for the ultimate sacrifice that he gave to us for, hanging on that mercy tree and ultimately giving his life to give us new life. And I feel the same way about my grandma. She stepped up and took a position where she didn't have to, but she felt she needed to. She felt a desire to come and take care of me and make sure that I had what I needed growing up. And as I got older in my teenage years, I got real rebellious. Everything that was bottled up inside me as a kid, no dad being around, it really made it difficult, especially through high school. I went through a very, very, very long period of depression, suicide thoughts. I was cutting on myself, overdosing on pills, experimenting with drugs, just hanging out with the wrong crowd, not doing what I was supposed to. Went from being an AB student to just totally dropping out. And I didn't understand why nobody really wanted me. At that time I felt like, well, there's nobody in this world that wants me other than my grandmother. So she was really the only person that I had, and during this time of rebellion I was lashing out on her as well as other family members, and they didn't understand. They thought I just craved attention, which to an extent I guess I did, because not having a mom or dad made it very hard, very difficult for me to express myself. I got to the point to where I would lock myself in my room. I was very heavily involved with doing art. Did create one good talent from me from this seclusion, art and music. But again, it wasn't healthy, and that again falls on not really having a good positive male role model in my life. When I was probably about 16, my grandmother was diagnosed with lung cancer. And as I said before, I dropped out of high school. I ended up repeating the 10th grade for the third time, and during that third time was when I found out my grandmother was sick. At this time, I was beginning to get my life back together. I was doing very well in school. I had a lot of goals. I was very goal-oriented. Planning on going to college. I was accepted to Furman University on a art scholarship, as well as being accepted to the Fine Arts Center for Art. But as I got this news and it started wearing on me, my grandmother, she had 8 kids, but they all worked and they were more involved with making money and doing their job versus trying to take care of who took care of them as they were growing up. And I felt obliged to turn the table, so to speak, and repay or the best I could repay what she did for me by taking care of me. I turned around and took care of her. So I ultimately dropped out of high school for a third time and focused mainly on my grandmother's health. At this time, I guess you could say I became a hermit. I didn't do a whole lot. I stayed in the house. My grandmother was on oxygen. She was a heavy smoker, which obviously oxygen and smoke doesn't go well together. But she fought through it, and at this same time, of course, I didn't have a job or any money, and I had some people start giving me flowers. So I had the great idea of, why not start building flower beds for my grandma? Give her something of beauty to look at. So let her see what God's created. And at this point, I just started randomly just putting out flower beds out in her yard. And of course, you have to understand my grandmother's chair set out by the big bay window she had, and she looked out every day, all day, look at the traffic, and just so I figured this was one way I could repay, make her happy, give her a little bit of peace. So I got in that, and of course later on it's honed my gardening skills over the past 20 years. And but anyways, I'd done this for about a year of seclusion in the house, didn't go anywhere, and as my grandmother, she got worse and worse, and I sit here day in, day out and just watch this woman of, just beauty, and I have to say she had patience of a saint. She was very involved she didn't go to church, but she was very heavily involved with her Bible studies. Very much so, she believed in God and Jesus. It wasn't really taught to me because of it probably would have been a negative effect in my life anyway, because nobody else really went into what Jesus was or God did or the Bible or anything else. But I do remember, that's one memory I have, her always reading her Bible, and through the Bible volumes every day. I could just see her studying the Word, and I knew where her salvation was. But as her sickness got worse and worse and her health declined, and she really started getting really clingy to me and attached to me, and which was fine. I understood, this was the lady who gave everything so I could have somewhat sort of a life, normal life, the best I could. And the past couple of weeks that she was alive, and actually the last time that she spoke and she actually knew who I was, my aunt called me and says, Jason, your grandma wants you. And so I went in there, and all she could say is, I love you, son. At that point, she recognized me as being her own child, which was great by me. I enjoyed every minute of it. And so anyways, I cherished that moment. And the past 2 weeks, the hospice came in and tried to comfort her and give her as much rest and comfort as she could be in at that time. My heart was breaking inside. It was the worst pain I could possibly ever felt ever, other than losing one of my own kids. And the last time I seen her alive, she was taken to the hospital. I went and visited her. And I got home around 10:30 in the evening, and I got a call a couple hours later, and she had passed away. And such a devastating moment in my life. That's actually the first time I truly found Jesus, was during her visitation of friends and family. So one bad thing in my life ultimately led to something great in my life. But I have to say, she gave me a lot of memories, and the one thing that really sticks out during when she passed, and going through funerals and visitations, all she was buried in Tennessee, and to drive through the mountains and see the older generation. They would pull over to the side of the road and get out of the car and just pay the most ultimate respect anyone could give to someone who had passed away, even though it was a total stranger. I thought that was just simply amazing. We don't see that kindness anymore. But that was probably the most devastating thing and the most life-changing thing that's ever happened to me. I hope you enjoy. I thank you for watching my video, and I would love to hear your comments and feedback. Thank you.